Alrighty YouTube, another one of Kip's clips. So, I want to point out the absurdity of the BBC, the reporting, the absolute complete manipulation and bullshit of words and the magic tricks they play on you. And all I need to do to prove this fact, very well I believe, is to actually show you a BBC report from the London riots and a couple of British reports from the Ukrainian freedom fighting protesters. I've sort of just weighed it up there. Now let's analyse these things. Ukraine, riots, people are unhappy with the government siding with Russia more than the EU. It's supposedly meant to be a democracy. I heard one of the talking heads on the TV saying, well, in a democracy, things are decided in the ballot box and in parliament buildings, not on the streets with clubs, bombs and bullets. And I don't subscribe to democracy, but I subscribe to the fact that this violence is only going to breed more violence and more death and destruction. So let's have a look at a BBC report from the London riots. So Ukraine, we know why the Ukrainians are kicked off. They're getting used about as the proverbial football between the EU, America, NATO powers and the Russian Federation. They're stuck in the middle, and unfortunately this is the result when you have a tug of war with the country. Now, London riots, August 2011. What started that? It started by... These are all allegedly, because I never really followed this much, but allegedly a guy getting tracked in a taxi with some armed police. He steps out and gets shot. They say he was unarmed and it looks like the gun was planted and stuff, right? But the people, was it Hackney? Can't remember. No, it was the Tottenham area or something. But the people of the area took to the streets to protest the killing of, by what all accounts, and I didn't know the guy personally, but he was a nice dude. He was a geezer, man. He was a product of this society, but by all accounts he had some good qualities as well. I don't know. So this guy gets shot, and then riots happen because people feel that a civilian was unjustly killed. How does the BBC report this? They report the Kiev thing. Demonstrators face wall of riot police Ukrainian protests. Molotov cocktails, Russia's water cannon and deadly Kiev protests. Protests. But hey, fast forward, rewind to London, 8th of August 2011. Nah, no protest. Riots, rioters, hoods, thugs, hoodlums, how dare they do this? Just listen to the bullshit, sorry.
The blaze is burning in Croydon in South London after a furniture store was set alight. The latest violence began this afternoon in Hackney in East London when police were attacked with rocks and missiles.
The police were attacked by rocks and missiles, right? And they are called riots. But hey, I see what they're saying about Kiev.
The mood is tense, the tension is rising. I'm on the other side of the parliament in a crowd of protesters.
He's in a crowd of protesters at the other side of the parliamentary building. No riots. This isn't a riot. It's not a civil war. It's a protest. No like any kind of protest I've ever seen.
I'm listing about 1,000, but it could be more. They're filling up a park and street just next to the parliament. In front of me is a wall of riot police with their riot shields in front of them, and just on the other side of them, where I am, is a group of protesters, all in camouflage.
Protesters all in camouflage. Guns, bombs, sticks, bullets, gas masks, army issued helmets. But they're protesters! Just remember that, okay? The BBC told you so. The BBC told you these guys are protesters. They ain't rioting, they're just protesting. Right, let's have a wee look at these protesters.
It soon spread south to Lewisham and Peckham, where shops and cars were set on fire. And this was the scene in Birmingham tonight as the violence spread outside the capital for the first time since the trouble erupted on Saturday.
Oh, the violence is spreading outside of the capital, but the violence has spreaded outside the capital. These lovely freedom-fighting protesters are trying to club police to death. They're actually hitting them with fucking Molotov. No matter what side of the fucking argument you're on, this ain't the way to achieve it. This is orchestrated, alright? I do not believe there's very many genuine people over Ukraine that have put a fucking hard helmet on, Molotov cocktails, guns, bombs and bullets, and went to fire at their fellow human beings who are perceived to be one of their fellow countrymen. No, they've got an ulterior motive. If they value political ideology over another human's life, well, fuck you, you fucking mentally retarded reject. Seriously, people need to get their priorities fucking straight, okay? It's all good and well caring for animals and stuff, but that should be lower. See, when there's no human poverty, human starving, human abuse of children, that's when I can concentrate my efforts on helping out dogs, cats and stuff like that, because I need to get my priorities straight. People need to get their priorities straight, man. Killing fellow human beings, I shouldn't enter anybody's head, and if it does, it should be the absolute last resort, and it should be not for revenge, not to get somebody back. It should be like, if you're willing to take somebody's life, it should be you or him. That's the only case I can really I can understand people getting so aggravated and wanting to do that stuff. I can understand that. I just can't justify it or agree with it.
With ski masks, some with gas masks, and also bats and other baseball bats and other metal objects which they have in their hands.
Right, there's the Kiev protesters. Let's just go back in time to the violence outside the capital of London. First time since it started on Saturday.
Let me be absolutely clear. Those responsible for this violence and looting will be made to face the consequences of their actions.
Oh, but in the meantime, she's now pushing fucking for the EU to put fucking sanctions on Ukraine because the riot police are fucking fighting back after they're getting... Now, this is the thing, I am not supporting the riot police, I am not supporting the protesters, I'm supporting the human beings that are finding themselves in an unfortunate fucking position to have to face themselves down on a fucking warfield, okay, a battle zone, man. And in these situations, man, I don't know, younger days, man, running about in a few gangs and stuff, man, you've got that group mentality in you, man, like, even a few of the early gang fights I went to, it was more or less a fucking chase, you know what I mean? Very rarely people actually get caught and done in and stuff. It was just normally we'll chase you in a big gang and then we'll chase... That's more or less what it was like, and that's what these situations that's what these situations would be if it was natural. If these were just two big mobs fighting, right, no matter what clubs, bombs, bullets and stuff they've got, they wouldn't want to escalate the violence to a stage where people start losing their lives, because there's a self-preservation thing that goes in. So ultimately there's manipulation happening here. The riot cops, they've got fucking orders, ain't they? So order, go and shoot him, go and beat him up, done. Strangely enough though, I do not think the riot cops are aggravating this situation. Pro bono, who benefits? Who's got something to lose? Who's got something to lose? That would be the government who controls the riot police if they got out of order. Look at the rhetoric that's coming out now. They're snipers! It's all coming through the BBC. Watch where you get your news. Meet the truth in the middle. It's usually... You normally get the truth somewhere in the middle between the BBC and the fucking rest of the world. But let's go back to our friendly... the rioters in London! Sorry, these aren't the freedom protesters.
Counting the cost in Tottenham in North London, where it all began, businesses lost and homes destroyed.
Heartstrings, people's poor businesses. The businesses lost, and they're going to lose money and shit. But let's not forget that the reason these protests kicked off was because somebody died, right? Priorities. Fucking human life over a fucking business or property. Unfortunately, the BBC doesn't see that. They want to pull on your heartstrings and fucking moan about, he burnt down a building, they smashed a window, rather than, well, some guy's life got lost, and that's why this is happening. No.
Just couldn't believe that our building was going up in flames. And it was like, 10 minutes longer in that building and we would have been dead.
Right, sympathy for that woman, man. She's had the horrible, unfortunate thing to have to witness arsoning of her own property, right? But see the manipulation of this report. They've grabbed a wee a crying woman who's genuinely upset, man, and heartfelt sympathies for her. She's getting used here. She's getting used as a tool to mind melt you and fucking emotionally charge your fucking head before they present you with all the fucking skewed facts. You know, you watch this and you go, well, where are they lying? It's the manipulation of words to paint the narrative, okay? London riots! Why wasn't it London protests? Fire in London protests. Buildings burnt down as a result of a death to of a police shooting. Nah. Let's just go on with the BBC propaganda.
And in the last hour, the Prime Minister has confirmed that he is cutting short his holiday and flying home. Also tonight,
Right, so there you have it, right? And now...
It's quiet at the moment, as you maybe can hear in the background. There's
we've got a few more minutes, so we might as well do this. This is another one I touched on yesterday, man. This cracks me up, this one. And fuck her, man. She knows what she's doing. If she's a talking head or not, man, quit your job. Start up a fucking YouTube channel or do something that's morally right and moral. Because, no, fuck he's, man. He knows what he's doing. He's working for Sky News, BBC, and it's like, oh, well, she's only paying the mortgage. She's only doing what he has to do. Well, that's fuck you, man. That's the mindset that's got us in this place. I'll just stay quiet, because... Why? Because they're holding fucking money over your head. It's time to break free from that paradigm of the fear of money. Right? No fear of fucking money, man. We will survive. Trust me, I've been in places that you no money, no nothing, and I fucking survived, man. Human beings are resourceful, man. We will survive, and do you know what? Ultimately, it'll be a better place for it. Tangent, I know, but...
The protesters here are fighting back.
Protesters here are fighting back. Protesters protest. They don't fucking fight you. Fighting back. The protesters are trying to capture government buildings that a democratically elected leader in government are currently residing in and holding, and still, I've not heard anybody say they haven't got legitimate mandate to rule the country. And these demonstrators are trying to fucking take these buildings over. I seen that like a local governor or something, only a wee snapshot on the TV earlier, of getting dragged out of buildings and stuff. These protesters are going to capture buildings. They ain't defending fuck all! See, when I hear them fucking talking about, oh, right, I'm staying in a house and I know somebody's coming to attack me. What the hell do I get as a defensive weapon? What's the best thing I can defend myself with? Shield, club, sword, armour, helmet. No, I know. Let me defend myself with fucking petrol bombs. That's good. I mean, surely if I set somebody on fire, that will defend me. No, Molotov cocktails are designed to fucking set people on fire, which tends to get people burned, right?
Attempting to defend themselves with fireworks and Molotov cocktails.
Right, see if this was a BBC report about if this was happening in Britain, or particularly Scotland, that guy there holding the big machete, you'd have a talking head going, look at this fragment, you fool, flaunting the law, just walking around with one of these weapons of war, a big knife, look at knife crime stats in Glasgow, look at knife crime stats in Scotland, it's a big apocalypse now, we need to ban butter knives. But nah, these protesters fighting back, they've got shields, helmets, it's not a fucking civil army. It's not an army set up by somebody. I mean, armed folk turning up to fucking fight riot police is not an army. Yeah, I'm running out of time. Blabbled on enough, man. I can rattle on about this stuff all the time. But I hope you appreciate that the comparison. There's nobody out there on YouTube that I'll actually see that fucking does this shit and points it out, deconstructs fully the propaganda that you're getting fed. And hopefully, by listening to me, you'll get in a better position to actually see this for yourself. I see it all the time. First question, as soon as you see something on the news, what are they trying to sell me? What's their agenda? As soon as you bear that in mind, that no story is ever on the news for no fucking reason. They're trying to sell you shit or square your fucking mind into a particular narrative. That's it. They're there for even the fucking weather. The weather's there to make you scared about the weather. I mean, when did fucking people stop using the window in their houses fucking in the for the weather? When did people start using the TV for their weather rather than the fucking windows in their houses? I'm out of time. Thumbs it up, share it. All the links, radio show down below. It's good to know, and I'm good to go. Catchies.